Out in the Oregon countryside, Bill halts his car and swaps his attire for incineration, reflecting on the relentless turmoil he's recently endured. This tumultuous journey began 48 hours prior. Bill, a 23-year-old, resides with his industrious parents, persistently seething and vexed due to his excessive consumption of bleak world news and content from unconventional influencers. To vent his vexation, Bill pummels a punching bag, hoists weights, or competes in darts within his quarters. In the presence of his parents, he feigns composure. Yet one morning, matters become complicated as Bill's parents announce it's time for him to vacate the household. Bill erupts, spilling juice, reaffirming the initial pact for independent living post-education attainment. His father suggests allocating some funds for rent, prompting Bill to accuse him of emotional manipulation. A dispute unfolds, but their work commitments demand their departure. They promise to revisit the discussion at dinner. Later, Bill heads downtown, patronizing a coffee shop. Ordering a double espresso macchiato with added froth, Bill feels let down by the lack of foam. He disputes the barista's preparation, ultimately returning the coffee and requesting a refund. The barista, deeming him foolish, declines the reimbursement. Bill departs, only to return briefly, swiping items from the counter. Seizing the opportunity, the barista tosses a roll his way. Shortly after, Bill toils in a garage repairing a van. Abruptly, his boss arrives, admonishing him for lingering over lunch. Bill, defending his work ethic, requests fair treatment and a raise, only to face rejection. Forced back to car repairs, Bill discreetly deposits an enigmatic package inside the van. Post-shift, he meets Evan, his lone confidant and a rebellious influencer. Evan hands him 2 parcels, urging Bill to desist from deliveries to his house. Bill keeps the contents a secret, suggesting they dine at Chicken Den, despite Evan's reservations about animal rights. Once served, the guys converse about their upcoming paintball match. Their mealtime is disrupted when the server inadvertently spills their food. Initially, they share a chuckle, but while she cleans up, they request an apology and a refund. The server offers to remake their orders but can't refund their money. Bill considers summoning the manager until Evan soothes his frustration. With their new meals, they dine while observing passers-by, triggering a spirited tirade from Evan about overpopulation, resource depletion, pollution, and society's fixation on wealth. Bill counters Evan's pessimism, accusing him of being all talk and no action. Later, when Bill arrives at his residence, his parents, slightly irked due to his absence from dinner and no calls, await a serious discussion. Bill apologizes and promises to engage in the conversation in the morning, bearing exciting news. Later, Bill retreats to his room, delving into books and periodicals addressing global issues, all the while tuning in to the radio broadcasting stories of violence. His mind fixated on these crimes, he abandons his reading to unveil packages. Surprise! A complete bulletproof suit awaits him. Assembling it, he listens to Evan's most recent video, where Evan champions active change. Bill mocks Evan, finishing his armored creation and crafting counterfeit bills. He then records a video ridiculing Evan's idealistic notions of equality without action. The following day, Bill engages in an intense morning workout before uniting with his parents for the morning meal. Unexpectedly, he shares his proactive plan. He's opted for a day of leave from his job to complete college applications, aspiring to study mechanical engineering. His parents are both surprised and proud, offering unwavering support. Later, Bill assembles his possessions, including not only the armor but also an array of weapons, resembling a SWAT team member. In his video, he advocates for the survival of the fittest, vowing to eliminate those who consume resources without benefiting society, such as cancer patients. Bill departs in his vehicle but halts midway to swap to an unmarked mode of transportation. As he cruises, vivid memories of Eva, his parents, and news reports serve as his inspiration. Eventually, he reaches the heart of town, spotting the van he had been repairing nearby. Employing a wireless device, he activates and steers the van, narrowly avoiding pedestrians and other vehicles in the process. He steers the van towards the police station and crashes it into the edifice, wrecking the reception area and injuring several officers. The remaining officers examine the van's rear, and are astounded to discover an explosive device, which Bill promptly triggers, resulting in a catastrophic blast at the entire station. This diversion will preoccupy the police for a considerable time, allowing Bill to proceed with his scheme. Bill halts his vehicle on a bustling street, exiting to open fire on a driver, leading to a collision. He proceeds to aim randomly at pedestrians, inciting pandemonium as screams fill the air. Alarms from cars and shops echo. Bill relentlessly targets individuals, evading ineffectual police fire due to his protective gear. The rampage continues, with Bill reloading only when necessary. He even inquires if a woman is frightened before ending her life. Minutes pass and Bill invades stores. Following a diner massacre, he confronts the barista, executing them over a foamless order. Bill storms into a beauty parlor, discharging rounds into the atmosphere to signal caution, compelling all staff and patrons to press adjacent to the wall. After removing his helmet to cool down, he taunts the frightened victims, some of whom plead for mercy and mention their families. Bill suddenly feels ill and departs without causing harm. However, he swiftly returns, corners everyone, and opens fire due to them seeing his face. Bill's next destination is a bingo hall, where elderly patrons are engrossed in their games, paying him little mind. Deciding to grab a bite to eat, a perceptive clerk recognizes his instability and doesn't levy a fee on him. Bill sits at a table with the seniors but finds the food unpalatable. His frustration builds, leading him to approach the caller and snatch the latest number as it's announced. The audience remains unfazed, aside from the caller, who politely requests the number's return. Bill realizes that these individuals are beyond assistance, practically lifeless, and decides to depart. He heads towards the local bank, tuned in to the radio's coverage of his misdeeds. Upon reaching the bank, he parks haphazardly and promptly opens fire on the approaching guard before entering. While coercing everyone to steer clear of the alarms, a sudden assault from an employee catches him off guard. Yet Bill swiftly overcomes the employee, dispatching them with a blade. Panic ensues, prompting Bill to fire upon a group of people before demanding the manager's cooperation in unlocking the safe. While the manager scours for the key, Bill instructs an employee to transfer cash from the register into a bag. Subsequently, the manager feigns ignorance about the safe's passcode, leading Bill to engage him in a dialogue that oscillates between empathy and insults until the manager finally divulges it. Once the bag is filled with money, Bill hurries back to his vehicle, stashes the authentic currency in the trunk, and replaces it with counterfeit bills he had printed. He dramatically ignites the cash, loudly proclaiming its futility. Bill departs, prompting the bank manager's distress upon discovering the signed money. He contacts the sheriff. Meanwhile, Bill drives, tuning in to reporters detailing his misdeeds. Through the radio, he intercepts the police's chatter, discovering their arrival via Crossroad. Simultaneously, his mother calls, and he deceitfully claims to be at home, unaware of the town's turmoil. Shortly after, Bill pauses at the Poultry Haven and dispatches the employee responsible for spoiling their dinner the previous day. Then, Evan chides him for his tardiness because they had arrangements for a paintball excursion in the forest. Bill claims he's running errands, assuring Evan he'll arrive soon. En route to the woods, he discreetly plants an enormous explosive by the welcome sign at Crossroad. Evan grows impatient, prompting another call. Bill coerces him to wait an extra 10 minutes, even threatening harm. When 2 police vehicles finally arrive, Bill triggers the bomb. The explosion overturns one car, but the sheriff's vehicle evades the blast. Spotting them, Bill flees in his car, initiating a high-speed pursuit. They exchange gunfire, but all shots miss. The sheriff's driver rams Bill's car, however. Bill counters and speeds away, distancing himself from them. Shortly after, when the sheriff and his law enforcement team apprehend Bill, he has already exited the vehicle, clutching his money sack. Taking cover behind a fence, he cautions the officers against pursuit. Ignoring the warning, the lawmen open fire. Bill triggers a detonator, causing his car to explode before fleeing. Tragically, the 2 deputies perish, but the sheriff remains unharmed. He ventures into the woods to track Bill, only to become disoriented. Seizing an opportunity, Bill sneaks up on him and impales him. As the sheriff endeavors to open fire, Bill forcefully pushes him aside, leaving him to succumb to his injuries. Subsequently, Bill hurries to meet Evan, presenting the bag brimming with cash. As Evan's attention wavers, Bill utilizes an electric shock device to immobilize him. Afterward, he places a firearm in Evan's grip, directing it to the precise location, and ultimately erasing Evan, creating the illusion that Evan opted for self-termination to realize his martyrdom aspirations. Outfitting Evan in armor, Bill departs, reaching a secure location to change attire and incinerate any evidence, effectively resetting the situation. Donning fresh clothes, he returns home, reclining on the sofa while watching the news. In the midst of this, his parents arrive, presuming he's been home all day. The TV anchor reports the police locating Evan, implicating him in the tragedy. Bill confides in his parents, revealing Evan as his sole confidant. Sympathizing, they refrain from discussing college applications, opting for an embrace. As Bill retires, his parents acknowledge the need for a psychologist to help him process his suppressed grief. Meanwhile, Bill, in his room, stashes the money in a suitcase, observing on TV that Evan's father is being apprehended. Once a fervent 1960s activist, the man harbored strong anti-government sentiments, leading to suspicion of his involvement in Evan's deeds. On screen, Evan's father vehemently accuses Bill, yet his words find no believers, enabling Bill to escape unchallenged. 2 years after the tragic event, Bill's video surfaces online. In it, he dismisses hope for survival, launching into a tirade about the imperative of eliminating individuals to safeguard natural resources, claiming he'll undertake population control for humanity's welfare.